Hey, welcome back to our podcast. It's been a few weeks since we have recorded, primarily because we are in the middle of busy season and we just been running around. It's been a great busy season for us, though. So I wanted to get back and do a podcast as quickly as possible for you guys. I know there's a few more major topics that I'd like to discuss, and then I'm going to try to go on social media and ask some questions so I can drum up some content that might help you guys from a consumer standpoint. So today, in the spirit of transparency, we are going to cover how much a garage door actually costs. And there's a lot of factors that go into this, but we're going to share some of those things with you today. So here's a checklist of things that you'll need to provide, things that when we go out to a home, these are the things that we're looking for, trying to identify what's important and what you're looking for. So here are a few things that you're going to need to know before you can get a price on a garage door. The width and height of the opening is super important. And when it comes to that, you're going to measure from the jamb on the left side to the jamb on the right side. And the jambs are typically cosmetic wood boards. Sometimes they're wrapped in metal or vinyl. That's similar to the siding. I've seen different things that people have wrapped them with. So most of the time they're exposed painted wood, and you're going to need to know from one jamb to the other what we're looking at. So that's how we get our width. Number two, you're going to need to know from the floor to the top of the opening, and that'll give you your height or to the opening. If I say the top of the opening, it can be a little deceiving, but floor to the top of the opening, I guess that is the right way to say it. You also need to know the floor to ceiling measurements, and the reason that's important is when we come in with track, we need to know if we have enough headroom for standard track or if we have low headroom situations. In some cases, you can have enough room to do like 20 or 32 inch radius track. So the most common track that we install are low head, 10 inch radius, 12 inch radius, 15 inch radius, 20 inch radius, and 32 inch radius. And then we also have what's called high lift. A lot of people who are doing putting like car racks in for cars to be able to stack their cars in the garage, they'll do high lift. And so there's lots of different options when it comes to track. But you'll need to know floor to ceiling. I like to know what the actual radius is and go in with the same radius in a lot of cases so that we don't have to move the motor if the motor's staying. If you don't have the same radius, whether it's 12 or 15, let's say you go in with a 12 inch radius track and previously they had a 15 inch radius track, you'll need to drop the motor down, which means you'll need some additional angle iron. And it's frustration that you really, in time consuming. If you just get the same radius track, you should be able to just slap it in and the motor should be able to stay in place. And so floor to ceiling is important, knowing your current radius. You'll need to know what construction of door you want. And we're going to cover this in another episode, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, and plus I'm kind of short on time. So the first thing is you're going to need to know if it's a non-insulated, like we call single layer or pan door for slang terms, a vinyl back or a 2-layer door or an insulated. That's another option. Same door, they just put insulation in it, so the insulation is actually exposed on the outside. The third is you're going to have what we call steel back, 3-layer, sandwich door. Those are some slang terms for that one. That one comes in polystyrene insulation as well as polyurethane insulation, and the price difference can be significant depending on the door. These doors, especially the 3 layers, can come in 2 inch, which is pretty standard for steel doors, or 1 3/8 thick doors. I don't normally recommend 1 3/8 thick doors on wider openings, such as 16 and 18 foot only because I tend to see a little bit of droopiness when it's in the up position. I just don't think those doors are strong enough, especially if they're not using super durable steel. I would say probably 24 gauge or stronger on a 1 3/8 thick door on a wide opening. Now we do use struts on 16 foot. We put 2 on 18 foot. We put 1 on each section, but I still just I'm not a big fan of 1 3/8 doors on wide openings. 2-inch thicks, we just don't have that issue. It holds up pretty strongly. I think it's structurally sound, and so I'm very confident in 2-inch thick doors. Either polystyrene or polyurethane, either one of those work well. Next, you'll want to know whether or not you want windows, decorative hardware, powder coated tracks, custom tracks, and we talked a little bit about that, etc. There's lots of different features that will go into that, and those also adjust the price as you add. A lot of people don't know that windows are an addition, so it's an add-on, and it does cost extra. The brand of door that you buy can also play a role in the price. So different brands have different pricing. The dealer that you buy from also plays a role in your pricing as well. A lot of bigger brand garage door companies, like door dealers, buy in volume, and you have different types of volume. Like some guys will buy sections only and then buy their hardware somewhere else and kind of piece it all together. Some companies will buy the whole kit from the manufacturer, and then you have distribution centers who buy just the sections and are putting packages together. And so it all depends on where you're buying your doors from. When a dealer's buying from a distribution center or a manufacturer, they're going to get better pricing based on the volume that they do. And so we get pretty good pricing, but we buy doors from 7 different manufacturers. And so we may not get like the absolute best price, but it allows us, with that flexibility, allows us to do is to find the right door for the right customer. And then we're able to help more customers. And so we do get pretty decent pricing, but not as well as if we were to just buy every door from one place. So keep that in mind. Home Depot pricing. I know like Home Depot and Lowe's, I've got their website up over here. I'm going to give an example here in just a little bit, but an 8x7 non-insulated white garage door they're selling for on sale right now for $244. Typically that door is $258, and we're going to talk a little bit about that pricing here in just a second. And then you have to take in consideration material price increases. So it's 2019, May 20th right now, and material prices have shot through the roof over the last few years. Primarily, I think a lot of it has to do with some of the stuff that Trump's doing, trying to bring steel and stuff back into the country. So we have to take that into consideration. I think it's slowed a little bit. We were hit with like 3 or 4 increases by majority of our distribution centers and manufacturers, all within like, I don't know, it was probably a 1.5 to 2 year period. And prior to that, we were probably getting maybe 1 increase a year. And so these increases can range anywhere from 1-2% all the way up to like 6% in some cases. So keep that in mind, that the prices that we discussed today may be different depending on what the market's doing and the demand for steel. And so if steel goes down, which I actually don't see, then obviously the prices can be lower. If the steel goes up, obviously the price will go up. So let's talk a little bit real quick. I've got a couple minutes left. Standard sizes. A lot of times we'll get people call us and they'll say, hey, I've got a standard garage door. How much does it cost? So first and foremost, there is no like one standard size. I would say we've done 8x7s, 8x8s, 9x7s, 9x8s, 10x7s, 10x8s, 10x9s, 10x10s, 14x7s, 15x7s, 16x7, 16x8, 16x10. I mean, there's a lot more, right? But just to kind of give you the idea, It's not necessarily one size fits all when it comes to garage door openings, and so you have to keep that in mind. And sometimes we'll go to people's houses, they'll have like a 16 by 7, and then right next to it they'll have like an 8 by 8. So the heights can be different for each garage door. So definitely put a tape on it and make sure that you've got the right size when you're discussing these things and doing your research. Um, the most common, however, are in our area here in the metro Atlanta area, in the suburbs, especially like Gwinnett County. You're going to see a lot of 8 by 7s, 9 by 7s, 16 by 7s, and 18 by 7s. And then occasionally we'll run into 8 by 8s, 9 by 8s, 16 by 8, and 18 by 8. No big deal, but when it comes to pricing, those things are important. So I'm just going to throw out a couple prices so that you guys can kind of get a general idea of what garage doors cost, because I show up to some customers' houses and occasionally they have absolutely no clue whatsoever what those look like. So I'm going to discuss those right now, and then we'll jump off and close this out for you guys. So an 8 by 7 right now, non-insulated, very basic door, comes with new tracks, hardware, springs, vinyl trim, operator bracket, a strut across the top if you're connecting a motor to it, and all the hardware that's needed. This is typically us breaking a door down, putting a new door back in with all new material, and you're looking at roughly $700 installed for all of that. Now, we talked about the Home Depot price, and their standard price normally is $258 when they're not running a special. These are our standard prices, so I'm going to compare to their standard pricing. $258 is a pretty aggressive price for that door. That's not much more than what we pay for an 8 by 7. And so in the spirit of trying to make a profit, $700. And this price by Home Depot doesn't include, I think, a strut. Doesn't include torsion springs. I think that includes extension springs, so that would be an upgrade. It doesn't include an operator bracket or vinyl trim. And so those are all things that you have to take in consideration, as well as it doesn't include labor to install it. Once you do all those things, I think the experience of buying from a dealer, as well as making sure that you have all of this stuff and know what you're getting. A lot of times consumers just don't know what to ask for, and so they're in this position where they're left to hear what they need from the Home Depots and Lowe's of the world, and that's just completely dependent on whatever sales representative you may have at that time. So anyway, a 16 by 7 is like a double door, so it's wide enough to fit 2 cars in. It's very popular, and those typically start around $12.50. We include 2 struts with those. We put one across the top section and then another one lower down. So in the grand scheme of things, when everything's considered, garage doors are extremely inexpensive in my opinion. Now obviously those prices can go up as you add features, but I mean $700 for a new garage door, that's insane installed. So you can hire a reputable, good company. They can come out and install a garage door for $700 with all new material. I think that's a pretty good deal. When you can take in consideration like an entry door, most entry doors are going to range, if you're doing the whole frame and everything, like thousands of dollars. And for some of the most basic, even if you're just replacing the door, it can cost you thousands of dollars. So keep that in mind. I think entry doors are overpriced. I think garage doors are underpriced still at these prices. I think they're still a little bit low. And I think that now that garage doors are the primary entry point for most homeowners, I think it's important that not only do you do maintenance on them, but you get a good garage door and you invest in it. Front doors just aren't as popular anymore. I think they're beautiful, but at the same time, garage doors are used by a majority of people now as the primary entry point. I hope you enjoyed this session, this show. We're going to post it on our website, and it'll be on YouTube for your viewing pleasure. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you have any questions or have a topic that you'd like us to address, feel free to leave it in the comments, and we will get to that as quickly as possible. We've got a list of probably about 5 or 6 more. Let me give you what that one is before I shut this off real quick. Let's see. Of course, I would have shut it down, I believe. Hang on one second. Well, I don't have it. Anyway, just stay tuned. We'll get it up as soon as possible. We hope you enjoyed the show. And sorry for that very long, uncomfortable pause while I scramble around and look for the next episode topic. Have a wonderful day.